Anything? Okay. Go back to sleep. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Thanks for coming today. Just go through the weekly schedule real quick, which this week at home is one event, which is UAB volleyball at 6 o'clock on Wednesday night. That'll be volleyball's AAC opener. And keeping with our theme of this week, we've got Lel and Gabriel here today, a couple of Floridians to talk about the game this week. And I know we have two people on Zoom so far. So again, to go over how we're going to run this, we're going to take questions from people here in the room first. And with two of you on Zoom, please raise your hand and we'll call on you after that. Okay? That we'll open things up.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Appreciate y'all being here today to cover these Rice Owls. Talking about Saturday first, thought it was a really good win for our program. You know, anytime you can win like that, that's great. Proud of the guys that we were able to play. 73 guys played through all three phases and played Rice Owl football when they got their opportunities. I think that the best thing that I could tell you is that we got a 60-minute performance from our team. Again, not perfect, but great effort and did the things we talked about. We really wanted to focus on starting fast, finishing strong, and winning the middle eight. And we were able to accomplish all three of those goals. I thought our starters, when they got out of the game, were completely locked in, supporting the guys that were in the game late. And to see us get a 3-and-out stop with our defense, to see us take essentially what our scout team offense is and put a ball in the box, that's exactly what we needed to see out of this team. And defensively, stopped the run good, created turnovers, stopped them on third down, offensively protected the football, had 0 turnovers, and was really proud to see us get the running game going in the second half. Players of the week were the offensive line for protection. On defense, it was Joshua Piercy, had 4 tackles, 1 assist, 2 TFLs, and 2 hits on the passer. And for special teams, it was both the kickers. Tim Horn hitting a career-long 48-yard field goal, and Enoch Goda stepping in there on a moment's notice and kicking his first ball somewhere between the back line of the end zone and the moon. He just kicked the heck out of it, and it was awesome to see him step in there and get that done. As always, you know, it's never as good as it feels when you watch the film, and never as bad as you feel, and that was the case in this film as well. There's still plenty we can improve on, and that's our goal for our football team right now. You know, I've talked to the coaches, I've talked to the team about taking our good football team to great. And, you know, gosh, there's a million books written on it every year about how difficult it is to go from good to great. And I think our team understands that, and I think they're committed to making that happen. So I look forward to seeing that. We've now shifted our focus to Alex Golish's USF football team, and we're excited to go into Raymond James Stadium in Tampa this weekend and play our first American Conference game on the road. We know we're starting a brand new season with it being conference play, and we couldn't be more excited. Our focus is really simple. It's 1-0, 1-0, and what it takes, our process to get that 1-0 and that locker room celebration again at the end of Saturday's game. Chuck mentioned it, but we got 2 of our Florida boys here, and Lavelle and Gabriel, and I look forward to you hearing from them. Lavelle is actually from Tampa, so he can give you some good restaurant recommendations if y'all need them. Quick injury report before I open up for questions. After the presser last week, we had 2 players become medically unavailable for the game, and that was Clay Servant and AJ Padgett. I'm optimistic we'll have both of them back this week, but unsure at this point. And then in the game, Chibi got injured, and I do not expect to have him for this week. With that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Yeah, Coach, just go more in depth the fact that you're playing your first conference game in the new conference, and how excited you are about that.
Yeah. You know what's funny, though, is like I was probably more excited about it 2 years ago when we thought about, gosh, we're getting into the American. This is going to be amazing. And now I'm in this flow, and it's like 1-0. It's like we're worried about the defense. We're worried about number 0 coming off the slot right now, you know, and worried about number 5, the great running back they have, and how we're going to put enough hats on him to make sure he's not able to keep running the ball. So maybe when we arrive at the stadium, when we're rolling up to Raymond James, where they played the Super Bowl a couple of years ago, I'll take a breath and realize it's pretty cool. But right now, it's just like I'm just so process-driven with the kids and with myself that I really haven't processed that probably since the summer.
I know you don't overlook anybody. You know, you didn't overlook TSU. you're not going to overlook South Florida, but the fact that South Florida played Alabama so well, that had to really get your attention.
Hey, it makes our job as coaches easy. Like when you can see the quality of the opponent on the film you watch all week, like, like we got to be locked into the details if we want this dub. I mean, there are some talented, they got, gosh, 1 million transfers. You look at their depth chart and it's got 2 little marks on it. It's got a BA if they are from the Bay Area, one of the 7 counties around Tampa, and it's got a TR if they're a transfer. And I'd say 2/3 to 3/4 of them are the transfer, so they are a completely different football team. And they're playing like it. And they played like a very confident group against Alabama on Saturday. I thought their defense did exceptional, and their offense had many opportunities. They're not ever struggling to move the ball. Alex Golish's offense, what he did at Tennessee, set records. And again, it's a great scheme. It's going to be tempo based. And the thing about tempo teams that I think is so critical, like we saw instances on Saturday where we couldn't get aligned when Texas Southern was going fast. And this is a team that sells fast. This is a team that wants to snap the ball every 8 or 9 seconds. And that's lightning. But if you just put it in like boxing terms, they have so much success when people aren't set. And just think about it as a boxer. If you stand there with your hands down, your guard down, you ain't got a chance. Now, if you get set and you have your cleats in the ground, not only can you protect yourself, but you can be aggressive and you can be on the attack. And that's what we got to make sure we do is have our cleats set and our eyes in the right place. We talk a lot about when you play tempo teams, resetting the OTA loop, which is a Navy pilot term. And it's observe, orient, decide, and act. And we've got to make sure we reset that OTA loop and get our cleats in the ground so we're ready to fight that fight each play.
Do you see something that might be a key matchup that could really be a determining factor in the game?
Well, I just think like that tempo is going to be a deciding factor in how successful we are. If we're ready for the fight, I'll bet on our defense. If we're ready for the fight every play, I just believe so strongly in the way these guys are performing and the effort they're playing with. From an offensive standpoint, it's going against Todd Orlando for our 3rd time since this staff has been here. At the 3rd different institution, he's kind of like JT, moving all around. But in all jokes aside, this is a guy that was an unbelievable defensive coordinator. At the University of Houston, many people thought he was going to be the head coach there. Then he goes to Texas. Then he goes to Southern Cal. Then he's at, FAU last year when we played him. And he's so intricate with the way he pressures you. He's going to attack you from so many different ways, different fronts, swinging people in from vines. The good news for us is it's a lot like playing Brian Smith. It's kind of what we dealt with all training camp in terms of the multiple pressures and the multiple fronts. So at least we have some experience in it, but he's a great defensive mind, and it will be a great challenge for our football team, for our offense to handle those pressures and take advantage of those pressures. And we know how we do that, right? We find the gap by doing our job and getting our targets as an offensive line and a blocking unit, and we protect the passer. And when you protect the passer versus some of those extreme pressures, there's going to be people very open down the field, and we count on our quarterback to hit him and know that he will.
And then you mentioned a bunch of different guys running down the roster. You didn't touch on Byron Brown. What's he kind of succeed at, and how's it going to make your life difficult?
It's hard to believe that that's his 3rd start as a quarterback in college. He's leading him in rushing, he's leading him in passing, he's doing some really exciting things. And the thing you can't sleep on, he's not leading him just as a rusher on called runs and designed runs. There's some of that, and there's some zone read and those kind of things. But where he's lightning in a bottle is when, you think you've got everybody covered down the field and you cover up their shots and the rush is starting to get home. And then he takes one of those lanes because I don't know, sneaky fast is real. I think he's just fast. So he presents a real threat. There's no doubt about that.
Then obviously everybody knows about the speed of this offense, and you talked a little bit about it, but what schematically, personnel wise, is going to pose the greatest test when you get on the field?
I don't know if it's one-on-one anywhere. It's one-on-one everywhere. And us doing a great job playing top down and not letting those shots get behind us. If we can do that, which we've done a really good job of this year as a secondary, and we know that it's not just the secondary, it's rushing coverage working together, but there's going to be play action shots that come after an earned first down. It's just what you can turn on Tennessee and you can turn on Alex's offenses in the past and just see them. They're going to jump the ball and it's going to be another run down your throat, or it's going to be boom, pump the ball in the belly of the back, and it bombs over by Baghdad, right? Shots down the field. And if we do a good job staying on top of those things, we'll be fine. But that's what we need to do, because if not, they run people out of the park, like you saw last year watching Tennessee have the great year that they did.
Where have you seen the O-line grow from the first 3 games?
Literally game by game. And it's good progress, and it's nowhere near a finished product. But I think our ability to, number one, like not for nothing, like I think the University of Texas is a very good defensive line. I think we said that at the time, but it's certainly proven to be true. And I think there were some physical mismatches where maybe we could have held up better with better technique, but they're really good, and they're going to win some of those. Then you go to the University of Houston, who's, again, a good front, and I thought we did a great job protecting the passer. But last game, we were even better at protecting the passer, and we were able to get the running game going, which when we can do that, again, somebody asked a question last week about balance, and am I searching for 50-50? And I'm not, but I do want to be able to run the ball when we want to run the ball and need to run the ball, and I want to be able to throw the ball and protect the passer to make sure we can get that done whenever we need or want to pass it.
Coach, you talked about South Florida. I heard Tennessee. So I would assume I'm going to ask you, is South Florida somewhat like Tennessee offensively, or is there another team that they remind you of, and are you ready? I'm pretty sure you feel like your defense is ready to handle it.
Well, I'm not yet. It's Tuesday. Like we haven't thrown the tempo at them that we're going to throw today. We're going to snap the ball every 8 seconds in our team together period today. And like they're going to feel the pressure of this, and they're going to feel what it feels like to get set and be ready to throw that next punch. And they're going to be really tired at the end of the day's practice. And the same thing's going to happen tomorrow. And by the end of tomorrow, hopefully I'll feel really good. And if not, then what's seeming to be our case right now is we keep having a better Thursday practice every week than the week before. And that allows me to sleep on Thursday and Friday nights right now. So need the guys to do that again. But no, I don't think we're ready to play this group right now because it is so similar to the University of Tennessee in the tempo. And from what I understand, like Josh Heupel and Alex Golish, they were together at UCF as well. And so a lot of this tempo, they've mastered the fast break, right? They know how to do this as good as anybody in the country. And I talked to 2 head coaches that played them already this year at South Florida, that played the South Florida team. And what they said is if you think the tempo is fast when you watch it, it is even faster in person. Like you don't have time to get a call. So it's mesmerizing, but it's a system that works and scores a lot of points and relies heavily on big plays. And we got to make sure we don't give them those big plays.
And substitutions.
Substitutions are going to be limited on those drives. They give you no time to sub. The times that a play stoppage happens, we'll sub and we'll take advantage of those. But if you think just after an earn first you can sub, you'll have 12 on the field or 13 on the field or 9 on the field, and we're not going to put ourselves in that situation.
And a bit of a scheduling quirk, but this is the second conference game in the American Conference. There's only one other one that's been played. If y'all are able to win this one, you'll be tied going into week 5, I guess, atop the American Conference standings in first place. I know it's only September, but when you talk about building, how significant would that be to be able to see yourself up on top and kind of know you've fought there?
Yeah, I think it would be great for our kids because, again, this is another goal that they have. And so I always love whether it's tangible evidence of a trophy or being able to open up the ESPN app and see yourself there. But that's a good reward if we can find a way to go 1-0 this week that we'll appreciate. But again, those questions are great. Like I think I don't know. I hope our kids don't think about it either, to be honest with you. They're great for the fans. But on Sundays, they're great to look at. I appreciate them. Like I told you, I appreciated that bucket and appreciate the fact that we had another cross-country or cross-city team last week, and we found a way to beat them and became city champs. So those are all big-time things, but those things are in the past. The things that we want are certainly in the future, and we know they're in our control as long as we take care of our process.
I will open up to Zoom. Once you guys raise your hand, I'll call on you. Steve, why don't you go first?
Hi, Bloom. You were talking earlier about the Texas game and what the problems that defensive line caused you. After watching what South Florida did to Alabama last week, getting their QBs 10 of 23 passing with a lot of pressure, 5 sacks, how do you prevent another performance like that Texas game from happening in Tampa Saturday and make life easier for JT back there?
Steve, I think that's a good question. Obviously, it's different personnel. But what I'm not going to talk about what the University of Alabama did or didn't do from an offensive coordinator or quarterback standpoint. What I will talk about is my belief in Coach Tuiasosopo and our offensive staff to put together a great protection plan and our quarterback to understand where to go with the ball, because we understand that everybody plays a role in pass protection. It's not just the offensive line. It is the offensive line. It's the backs. It's the tight ends when they're called to do it. It's the receivers running things at the right depth so we can be target depth and trust with the quarterback. And I just believe so strongly in what we're doing and the way we are game planning this thing that we'll be able to do that at a high level. And although South Florida's defensive line is really athletic and really active and really good, and those pressures are going to come in from Vines like we talked about, I just believe that we're going to have a good plan. And if we all do our jobs this week to get comfortable with our assignments and get them done on Saturday and execute, we're going to be just fine. Because that's again, I just can't sell these guys enough that it's all about us. That's a very good football team on the other side. It's a team that's so different from anything anybody wants to talk about South Florida in the past. And they're playing with a lot of belief right now. I think Alex is doing a great job instilling his culture there. But right now, this game is not going to be about what South Florida does. It's going to be about what the Rice Owls do.
Anything else, Steve? John? John, you have a question?
Yeah, Mike, this is a bit of a change for you guys. You have to actually travel out of the state and go to a different time zone. What's this going to do, I guess, to you? How are you guys planning to schedule to keep the guys kind of on the schedule they've got used to keep them, ready for this game?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess first off, the game starts 3 hours earlier than what we've been kicking off. We've been 6 o'clock kickoffs the last 2 home games, and I think we were 2:30 in Austin. So this one's going to start at 4 o'clock or 4:02 Eastern. Yes, 4:02 Eastern, 3:02 our time. So basically everything is just moved up in our schedule 3 hours from when we're going to start breakfast and meetings right on down the line. And we're going to make it as comfortable as we can. Our timeline stay intact. It's just another great steak and lasagna dinner at the hotel on Friday night. And then it's breakfast and it's pregame meal. And it's just as consistent as it can be for these guys. Everything from the schedule standpoint will feel the same for them. And then we'll go to a little different locker room at a, like I said, NFL stadium, and that's always fun. And we'll get out there and play football.
Anything else?
That's it, Chuck. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Why don't you start off just talking about the obvious thing, the excitement of going home to play?
I think it's a great opportunity to be able to go home and play in front of my home crowd. It's not often I get to play in front of my family, being that we're all the way in Texas. So just want to make the most of the opportunity and present my city well and my family as well too.
Thanks. Let me ask you, first of all, about going to Bucks games. Did you get a chance to do that? Or maybe even play in Raymond James Stadium? Did you go to Bucks games? Did you play there when you were growing up?
I got the opportunity to go to a couple Bucks games growing up. I was very young at the time, but I do remember it being packed and having a lot of fans, but being on the field would be a lot better.
I was reading your bio. You had a pretty late start playing the game compared to other players. Kind of walk us through growing up in that area, what inspired you to play, and how long you've been playing.
So I did get a late start. I started my junior year of high school. Just being able to have the opportunity to play in Florida. I think if I was in other states, I think it would have been a little harder, but just being able to show my athleticism and my talent in the state of Florida against some of the top competition, I think that proved me able to get to the spot that I am today.
And after helping these guys, win the Texas games, the Houston games, kind of defend this city, have you had a chance to, tell everybody, hey, we got to go win this Florida game too?
Yeah, definitely. Also with getting tickets, so they're always like, this past weekend, they're always asking like, why do you keep asking people for tickets? Why do you keep asking people for tickets? Yeah, they know I'm from Tampa, but they didn't realize how many people I was bringing. So I'm like, Also, I need these tickets, but we definitely got to win. Like, I'm not inviting all these people here not to win. So I'm trying to get 60 tickets. So yeah. Yeah.
And then when it comes to the product on the field, when you talk about Alex Golish and his background, everyone talks about the offense and the fast pace. What have you seen from the defense? What y'all are going to be facing? What does that look like?
So from the defensive side, I think they do a lot of movement, a lot of good things for them, and that fit their scheme. But I believe it's on us up front. If we handle our business, give JT the time that he needs, it's nothing that can stop our offense, to be honest.
And then what have you kind of seen? Coach talked a little bit of the progression of you guys, the five up front with the O-line through the last couple of weeks. Have you kind of noticed the increase in the improvement and how well you've been playing?
Yeah, just like how coach has said, like they have a new team, we have a new team as well up front. It's two new starters, me and Brant, meshing with Nutt, who's playing center, just moved to center, and then two great tackles within Ethan and Clay Servant. Also, Brad played really good last game, if he does play this game. But I think it's just more time we have together. Like, it's just on us. I believe we can do anything, play against anybody, line it up, but it's on us to handle business.
It's always an exciting time when you start conference play. But, you know, now that you're playing in a new conference, just kind of, what's that going to be like?
Playing in a new conference is amazing. It's a new team for me as well. So able to win more games and just add to the hype that we have going on and just adding to it. I believe in this new conference, we have a lot of opportunities. We have a lot of good guys on our team to just keep building and just have the hype keep rolling.
When you do play an opponent you're not really familiar with, what's the biggest adjustments you have to make?
Just sticking to your technique and your fundamentals, things that's been coached to you from day one of camp. Just they can do all they want, but as long as we handle business from our side of things, it's on us.
Anything from John or Ryan? Or, Steve, I'm sorry. All right, we're good. Thank you.
Thank you.
She with Tennessee 4-4 and everything. So she in South Florida right now.
Tempo mostly, getting lined up. We have some issues versus TSU. We have to just clean up and take our process and trust one another on the field.
Yeah, just like I've been asking everybody, just your thoughts on getting the conference going, and you know, it's the first AAC game for Rice ever.
It's amazing. It's a good test for us. We don't play last year. Nobody's on the same on the schedule as last year, so it's a good test for us and see what we can do next in the conference.
And then same question I asked Lavelle. You got excited with everybody, you know, from Texas and the Houston area to win these Houston games. Have you amped up the importance of, hey guys, we gotta go take care of my home state too?
For sure. We lost the last one versus FAU, so this one's important, and it's gonna be fun, especially because we're playing at Buccaneer Stadium. The last time I was at the Buccaneer Stadium was 2006 with Sean, so it's amazing to see the new stadium now.
Have you played on that field before?
No. Mm-mm.
Real quick, is there a rivalry between the areas? Forgive my Florida ignorance, but being across the state there, dumb Texas guy asking the question, but
Can we explain Florida to you?
just playing in Tampa, being a Miami guy, is that
Yeah.
puff your chest up like it did last year, FAU?
FA is closer to my home, so I guess that was more pumped up. But Tampa is like 4 hours away, so I don't. It's hard when I explain people in South Florida and Florida to Texas people. It's kind of difficult for them to comprehend what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I'm still pumped up to go back to home, Florida, and win versus USF.
You said that the last time you were on that field or in that stadium was with Sean,
Correct.
your brother.
Correct.
Is this a very sentimental trip for you?
Yes. He won that game, and hopefully I can win this one.
Talk a little bit more about that, though. I mean, you were actually there, and you'll be
Mhm.
there again Friday. I'm sure that's going to bring back a whole lot of memories.
Yeah, being behind the bench, him scoring, handing me the ball, probably brings back a lot of memories. But my main focus is to win, go 1-0 with the team, and head back to Houston.
And then ask Bloom a little bit, but you win this game, Rice football's top the standings in the Americans. We're only a couple weeks in, but of all the you've been here, the years you've worked for, what would that mean to you?
It means the world, but our main focus to keep the thing rolling. Days after days, I'll probably look on the site and look at the conference rankings, and if when we win, it'll be my first time here, being top of the list on the rankings. So it'll mean the most to us in this win.
You touched on this a little bit, but what's it like though, when you get to play an offense like they have? I mean, it's challenging, but it's also exciting to see what you can do to stop them.
We just gotta get lined up, trust our process. It's gonna be challenging, another test, new team. There's gonna be simple concepts, but the main focus is getting lined up and be ready for the punch.
And like we asked Lavelle, how many tickets are you trying to get?
Last time I had 72 versus FAU, but this time I'm gonna have like 29, maybe 35. I gotta get the list more, but not that much.
Got kind of a revamped defensive backfield this year, but some of the same guys. What's the first 3 games been like from your position group, seeing the guys playing in their different spots? JoJo.
We're steadily growing. Trust is a big thing for us in the back end, especially in getting us lined up. But I have so much trust in my guys in the back end. It's just another test for us, and we're confident going to this game, so it won't be no problem.
Anything else in the room?
John, Steve, you have anything? Go ahead, Steve.
Hi, Gabe. You guys have come out of the gate really strong this year. Only one first half touchdown allowed to Texas. You have 28-0 Houston, and then all those 3 and outs last week. What do you think has really clicked when you guys have come out of the gate this year?
Just being the same mode, same mindset. Everybody's locked into the job. We're not playing hero ball this year, and we're trusting one another and sticking to the process like how we've always been.
Thank you.
Anything else? Okay, thanks, everybody. We'll have our post-game Zoom on Saturday, so talk.
It's not that long.
You almost
Not that long.
say Dallas, Houston, but understand how far away that is really, of course, because you just can't drive straight there. You
No.
know, all around.
It's 4 hours.
We don't.
Yeah.
Hold on, I won't It's like forward. Well, maybe this is my first one before. The guy who ran for governor won by running as a crack. One trouble. He was a crack.